Hi, it's Gracie with Beautiful Life Self Care. Thanks for tuning in. I'm doing a series on relationship self care or how to stop fixing people so you can start being happy. I'm going to do these videos until I give birth, which did not happen this week. It's, as you can see, it's just becoming very apparent that it's coming soon. But until that happens, I'll keep sharing these insights because I think that learning how to really practice self-care in relationships is the next edge for so many of us who have been focusing on ourselves and really working on getting healthy in who we are. If you missed the video last week, it's all about intimacy in relationships, why we're afraid of it, why we crave emotionally unavailable people. Please check that out. There's a lot of, for me, very life-changing insights in there. And this week I want to talk about a feeling of belonging. Belonging is a really central need in our relationships. If you think about tribal mentality, and this is how most of us evolved as human beings, or all of us, I think, evolved as human beings, is that if we were part of a tribe, if we got left out of the tribe for any reason, we wouldn't have the resources to survive. So it's built into some part of our brain that in order to survive, in order to thrive, we have to belong. The problem with this is that that's not necessarily the reality these days. And many of us are born into communities, born into families where we don't feel this innate sense of belonging. And what happens is that we start to feel like we have to either one, change the people around us so we can feel like we belong, or two, change ourselves so we can get the sense of belonging. I think this, I don't actually experience one or the other. I feel like when I'm trying to hang out with a group of people where I don't feel a sense of belonging, it's both. I feel like, shoot, I have to change myself, and then, ooh, I want to change them too. And this goes back to this idea that we are trying to fix other people, and in that we're sacrificing our own happiness. So what do we do if we're part of communities where we don't feel like we get to be authentically ourselves and belong? One is that we need to take a little time for ourselves to figure out what it is that's important to us and our own values. If we spend a lot of time conforming to other people and what they want for us, this might be confusing at first, and it's worth taking a little bit of time, and especially time alone. Time in nature really helps me to think about who I am as a person. Traveling is a great way to do this as well. So some independence. But what I'm going to caution against is getting stuck in this hyper independence. It's something that I think we're very susceptible to, especially if we live in the United States, that we have this idea that we can do it on our own. We move away from our families, we start new lives in new cities, and within it all, there's this subtle idea built into it that we don't need other people, and needing other people is actually seen as a weak thing. I'm here to tell you from a self-care perspective, we need other people. We don't even just need one other person. I think that we have that idea in our culture that we have like a soulmate fantasy that person's going to make us happy. If you have that fantasy, just erase it from the chalkboard, because that's not true either. Anyone who's in a committed relationship knows even when it's very good, it's still really hard. But what we need is we need a community of people around us. This is how we evolved, to be part of a community, and this is really what feels most satisfying to us, is when we have lots of people that we stay connected to. And especially what we have the choice in these days, and this is not what our ancestors had, is that we can choose communities that align with our values and where we feel like we get to be authentically ourselves and be accepted. The key to this is really important, is that we have to align ourselves with communities that value authenticity. So if your community is valuing something else, like going out every weekend, and you don't really love to do that, then like that's actually, your authenticity is not going to be that important to them. But if you join with a community that cares about vulnerability, that cares about you telling the truth, that cares about exploring who you are as a person, even when this means some conflict, and this is, I think, is like so important. It's something I really learned a lot through the work that I've done with the 10 Directions Integral program, where I went into a community of people that wanted to have conflict in the name of all of us being authentic for ourselves. It scared me a lot at first because I was afraid of conflict. And I started to realize with engaging with this group of people that cared more about me being myself than they did about us just having harmony, was that it created this greater sense of connection and this greater sense of belonging and this greater sense of depth. I've since found this in other communities as well. It's not an easy thing to find. I think it takes a group of people who've left all of the other communities and don't want to conform anymore, and have come together in a spirit of something that feels larger. And so a way to find this is to find a church that you feel aligned with, maybe a group of people that want to volunteer together. It could be 12-step programs are great. Anything where you just feel like, wow, I really feel like myself and I don't have to try around people, and when there's a conflict that we can just hang in with each other. I base a lot of my work in the self-care programs that I do around community. People come in often thinking that they have to solve the problems on their own, that these are like self-care flaws. And what we actually find as a community is that all of us are kind of working with the same self-care issues and blocks, and that when we can realize that we're not alone in it, and that we can laugh about it and grieve it together, there's something that's inherently healing in that. So we might not solve the problem exactly, but in realizing that we get to be part of a community and accepted for who we are, there is a lot of healing that's there. So if you are spending a lot of your time trying to conform or trying to get the people around you to change so you don't have to sacrifice who you are, I invite you to let go of that, take some time on your own, figure out what's important to you, and seek out a community where you feel like you get to be accepted for who you are. It's worth it. It's not weak to need people. It's actually very healthy to need people. And in doing that with a sense of self-care, I think it's really the combination to be able to give us that feeling of love and belonging that we're all searching for so much. So hopefully I'll see you next week. When I do, I look forward to sharing more self-care and relationship tips. Please respond. Let me know your ideas, your thoughts, your feedback. You can disagree with me. I would welcome it. And keep on keeping on. You're doing amazing work. Bye-bye. Thank you.